Trevor and Tower are twins, and they're 9. And Tower is my son with autism, and then there's Nate, who is the 7-year-old who kind of thinks that he's the older brother and really likes to try and take care of Tower. Tower is considered moderate to severely autistic. He's completely nonverbal, and he is quite a handful. There's no known cure and no known cause, and right now the best defense is early intervention. When he turned 12 months old, we went to the doctor, and the doctor ordered early intervention for both my boys. Now, Tower, you could kind of tell that, he was a little bit behind, but Trevor seemed like a perfectly typical child to me. So I was really surprised when they ordered early intervention for both of them, and then even more surprised when Trevor was also picked up on early intervention, and even more surprised months later when Trevor was also diagnosed on the spectrum. So they were about 2 years old at the time, and they both got early intervention. Now, Trevor got a little less than Tower did, but we did ABA, we did special education, we did physical therapy, speech therapy, occupational therapy. We had a lot of early intervention at the time. So then 5 years later, or a few years later, when Trevor was ready for kindergarten, he was reevaluated, and he no longer met the criteria on the spectrum. So he is considered, I guess, recovered, or whatever you want to say. But the point is, I really, truly believe, had he not gotten that early intervention, he would be a completely different child. I think that the early intervention he started receiving at 3 years old really changed the course of his entire life.
My grandson's 10 years old, so I'm worried about now. We work for now, because what you do now is important in the child's development. And every little bit of ability that they can learn and grow is important for their future happiness and their future quality of life. But that's what we aim for, quality of life and happiness. We're not talking about productive adults. So it really baffles me why the government isn't looking at this more seriously and saying, gee, this is going to be a big problem. Let's put our resources toward it and help find out what causes it.
We've all always worried about Peter because he speaks differently in terms of his speech. He looks just like any other young man in his 40s, loves to dress, loves to travel. Does he have friends? No, just his brother that he lives with. Does he have family? Yes. He comes to all of our holiday events. He visits with his mother down in South Carolina. When Peter was born, his mother was accused of making him the way he was. Okay? There was this theory, the refrigerator mother.
Bruno Bettelheim.
Exactly. And Peter did not speak until he was 6. He wore out mattresses, jumping up and down from the sensory issues that Kelly talked about. And yet, he is living a life that is different for him. And as the parents get older, I've met with families in their 70s, in their 80s, who are concerned, who's going to take care of my son, for the most part, or daughter? Who's going to make sure that he is supervised? Who's going to make sure if he says something inappropriate and is there to advocate for him? Who's going to do his laundry? Who's going to make sure that he eats well? And that's what Mount Bethel is all about. Families can feel rest assured that, number one, another sibling may not be necessarily taking care of that child, because it puts a greater responsibility on another brother or sister. And that those children can live just to the ages that all of us get to be senior citizens.